What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Today I wanted to come on and speak about it's a pretty tough topic, but it's worthy of a conversation, yeah? So it's in regards to the alcoholic narcissist. Now, first and foremost, I want to say that not every narcissist is an alcoholic and not every alcoholic is a narcissist. But statistically, alcoholism and narcissism kind of go hand in hand, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, there's a spiritual reason for that, and there's a 3D medical reason for that. And so in the 3D medical reason of mental health in the DSM-5, they refer to it as comorbidity, where there's two toxic things, two issues coming together, yeah? And so alcoholism and narcissism, a lot of times the narcissist will have some type of extreme addiction. And alcohol is normally the one that they go towards. It's easily accessible. It helps them to mask better. It gives them more confidence on their when they start masking or being like someone else. It makes them let their guards down a little bit, yeah? And so they can perform better. And so they will use the alcohol for that reason. So what is the spiritual thing behind alcoholism? So alcoholism kind of amplifies the narcissistic behavior, right? When the narcissist gets drunk, they get on a feeding frenzy, you know, because most times where there's a lot of drinking going on, there's a lot of people. And they can just kind of, move through the crowd and feed. Now, the narcissist that stays at home and drinks, that's when their mask comes off a lot of times. They'll be fine, and then they'll start drinking, and then they'll just look over at their mate or at their children, and they will start doing something to them, feeding on them, or demoralizing them, or abusing them in some way. And so sometimes alcohol is the catalyst for this. So the word alcohol has been referred to, I think it's Hebrew or it's Hebrew, where they refer to the term as a call, which means a call. I think a call means body-eating spirit. And so they refer to alcohol as a body-eating spirit. This is one of the reasons that they refer to alcohol as spirits. Why do they refer to alcohol as spirits? So alcohol is created through alchemizing a plant, yeah? And so let's just use a grape, for example. They take the grape, right? And the grape as a whole grape, it is full. It's body and spirit. But when they smash the grape, they take the spirit away from the grape. Right? If a grape is dehydrated, if the spirit is dehydrated out of a grape, the grape is no longer a grape, it becomes a raisin. Right? And so when they smash the grape, they take the spirit out of the plant, out of the grape. And then they ferment that. They ferment it, and then it becomes wine. It becomes a form of alcohol. Well, they do this with wheat and barley and potatoes and what else do they make alcohol from? Anyways, they use this they take the spirit out of whatever it is, and they take the spirit out of it. It's a volatile alchemizing effect, right? Because they have to smash it to take the spirit out of it. They have to grind it to take the spirit out of it. And then they let the spirit sit, and they let the spirit ferment. Now, I've never been to prison, but I've watched enough prison documentaries, and they make something called hooch, where they take yeast out of the kitchen, and they take apples or oranges or some type of fruit out of the kitchen. They put it in a trash bag. They smash the fruit up. They pour yeast in it, and they hide it somewhere and let it sit and let it ferment. And it makes something called hooch, which is like a prison version. Forgive me if I got any of that wrong. I'm not an expert on that topic, but it is a prison version of alcohol, of spirits. Alcohol means flesh-eating spirit or body-eating spirit. So when one consumes a lot of this, alcohol, it begins to eat on their spirit. It changes their demeanors. It changes their demeanor. They might start off all happy. Yeah, here, cheers, here, this, that, and the other. The next thing you know, they're turning into a demon of some sort. They drink so much. Alcohol affects the vital organs in the body. The vital organs in the body begin to deteriorate because this flesh-eating spirit begins to take away from the body. Now, in indigenous cultures, right, shamanism, right, it's almost like alcohol is spiritual warfare. Because when the colonizers came over here and they saw the indigenous people, the first thing they did is they started giving them alcohol because it lowered it put their guards down. It took their connection away from their ancestors. It took their connection away from their spiritual beliefs. And then they were more likely, they were beautiful people, so they wanted to share and give. They didn't know that the colonizers were going to do what they did. But the colonizers knew the effect of alcohol, this body-eating spirit. Because the indigenous people were so connected to spirit, they were so connected to their ancestors, they were so connected to nature, the alcohol took that away from them. So it was used as spiritual warfare with the colonizers from the beginning, right? In Christianity, right, there's this thing that says, there's somewhere, I don't know the Bible like that, but it says that, the Holy Spirit cannot reside where the body is where the body is in this condition. The Holy Spirit can't dwell there when the body is inebriated, when it's full of alcohol. The Holy Spirit can't dwell there. So again, it's another sign that alcohol disconnects people from their higher self or their higher beliefs. It disconnects them from it. One of the reasons that Christianity is not a fan of alcoholism either, right? And so that's in shamanism, that's in Christianity, and in the metaphysical realm, right? People who believe in metaphysics, we believe that it disrupts the auric field. It puts holes in the auric field and it leaves us vulnerable to energy vampires. So you already have this alcohol spirit, this body-eating spirit within you, and then you're open to demonic entities that can suck on you, or that can feed on your energy. Or they don't have the ability to create their own auric field, so they're constantly sucking on someone else, which is a very narcissistic behavior. I do spiritual house cleansings periodically. And when I do the spiritual house cleansings, what I'm normally cleansing out of the house are the people are saying that they're seeing shadow people in their house, right? These shadow people are alcoholic spirits. These shadow people hang out at bars. They hang out anywhere where there's a lot of alcohol. Because these shadow people, what they do is they feed on the low vibrational energy of alcoholism. And they can literally do what's called a walk-in, where they walk into the alcoholic. That's what happens. They walk into the alcoholic's physical structure. And that's when the alcoholic starts shape-shifting and becoming something else, whatever that something else may be. This, connected to narcissism, allows the narcissist to have an excuse as to why they are who they are, or I drank too much and things of that sort. If you sleep with an alcoholic narcissist, right, you allow them into your space. Even if you do not drink, this spirit is transferable. You can wake up the next day with a headache. You can wake up the next day nauseous. You'll feel like you have a hangover and you've never taken a drink. The narcissist uses alcohol to feel, because they never feel like they're themselves. They never feel like they own themselves, And so they'll use alcohol to feel like they belong. it's not so difficult for them to pretend. Like they get to put their guards down for a minute because the narcissist is always pretending. A lot of these narcissists, alcoholic narcissists, because they're mimicking people, they're mimicking what's the latest and the greatest, right? They want to be what's the latest and the greatest. And so they will find a community. Let's just use the healing community, for example. They'll go into the healing community, be full-blown narcissists and full-blown alcoholics. And they'll start making stuff like natural soaps and bath salts. They're mimicking, trying to be in the healing community, like they're a healer of some sort. And when they're sitting there making natural soaps and smoking cigarettes and drinking shots of vodka. Because they're constantly trying to keep the mask up. But anyways, this video is about the damage that alcohol does to the human body. Alcohol is an alchemized substance that takes the spirit out of the plant, the vegetable, the fruit, whatever it's doing is taking the spirit out of it. And it's doing it in a volatile way where it's mashing it up, taking the spirit out, leaving it to ferment. And then people take that and they consume that fermented liquid into their bodies. Now, if you just take a bunch of grapes and eat them, you're getting the full life of the grape. But if you take 3 or 4 bottles of wine and drink it, you're getting the spirit of the grape. And how was that spirit extracted? At any rate, alcoholism is called spirits for a reason. It's not something that's made up. It's something that's real. Alcoholism is called spirits for a reason, because whenever you consume it in large quantities on a regular basis, you are inviting certain spirits within your auric field. You're inviting certain spirits within your body. There's a reason why alcohol is legal. There's a reason why alcohol is legal and why it's promoted. More people die from alcoholism and from car wrecks, from drinking and driving and domestic violence situations while people have been drinking than anything else. I don't have the exact statistics on it, but I just know it. But yet, alcohol is legal. Whenever this system makes something legal, your antennas should go up. Like, oh, it's legal. There's something connected to it. Because the entities that rule this 3D realm, they need to keep power and control over everyone and anything walking on it. And so alcohol is one of the ways that they do this. It's why you'll see a liquor store in indigenous communities on every corner store. And now you're starting to see vape stores that are selling, I don't know what it is, but it's like synthetic marijuana. And they're eventually making marijuana legal. So whenever they get their hands into it, it's going to shift the energy of the plant. Because just like they use the plant to alchemize the plant and extract the spirit from the plant to create alcohol, they're going to do the same thing with marijuana. They're going to extract the spirit from the marijuana and then add whatever else they want to add in there to make it like an addictive substance. So it's not really the true plant that you're connecting with. And so anytime the system makes something legal, one needs to be aware of that. They need to put up their antennas and be like, well, why? Because there's something to it that is going to control one in one way, is control you in some manner or another. Not only are they profiting financially from making certain things legal, but they're profiting from the dumbing down of the masses. The narcissistic community loves this because it gives them a way to let down their guards and be on a feeding frenzy with narcissism in some way, because people who are drinking and smoking and they let their guards down and the narcissist can freely feed. But for those who are awakened, those who are walking on their path, just know that anything that's legal, that alters your consciousness, there's probably something to that. Yeah? Just ask the Native Americans. When the colonizers came over here, there were indigenous people, right? Who they refer to as the African Americans, and there were natives. They gave the alcohol to the natives. And to this day, the natives on reservations are still struggling with alcoholism. So the narcissist will use this. Anybody who's ever been married to a narcissist or ever had a relationship with a narcissist, they will see that they will drink themselves. They will just pickle themselves. And that energy can't be transferred over. So the alcohol is used for a reason. Alcohol is referred to as spirits for a reason. It is a body-eating demon, a flesh-eating demon, a flesh-eating spirit. And narcissists tend to use this vice in order to assist them in feeling more comfortable in the hollow vessel that they reside in. Because they're a hollow vessel, the spirit just has all run. You can just run rampant within them. And then they will project that out onto their victims. Yeah. So alcoholism is a serious disorder. And if anybody out there is struggling with it, I would suggest that you, seek some help and things of that sort. A lot of times the chosen will have addictions as well. A lot of times chosen will use addictions as a vice because they're so open to energy. That's their way of coping. But I just wanted to come on a little bit and speak about the spirit of alcoholism and how this spirit eventually ends up taking the life of the person that consumes it. Right? And how it coexists with the DSM-5 refers to as a personality disorder, but what we refer to in the spiritual world is just a demonic possession, how it coexists with narcissism. Yeah? Well, I hope that I've said something that can assist you on your journey today or bring you some type of knowledge when it comes to the topic of the legal substance called alcohol, also referred to as spirits. And I hope that it helps you along your journey in some way. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. If you're really feeling my vibe, don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you know the next time that I upload. Thank you for tuning in to my channel, Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. We'll see you next time here on Closing the Gap. Y'all have a good day.